I'm Sarah, I'm 45, living in East Sussex with the support of 24-hour PAs. I have a congenital form of muscular dystrophy called Ulrich's CMD, which means that the average age of starting ventilation is early to mid-teens. I started using it when I was 15, and I've now been using it 30 years. I've seen quite a lot of changes in that time, starting with a huge, big, heavy box of a ventilator to something really lightweight and portable that can go on the back of my wheelchair.
Hi, I'm Fleur. I'm 33. I have spinal muscular atrophy. I've been using non-invasive ventilation since I was 11. Spinal muscular atrophy weakens the muscles, particularly the muscles closer to the center of the body. This includes the muscles around the lungs. So the NIV makes sure that I'm breathing well when I need extra support. So when my muscles are tired or just need that little extra bit of help. We noticed on a sleep study that I was getting dips in my oxygen overnight. So we started me on NIV pretty young, and it's helped to maintain my health a lot over the years. One of the most important things that I've found about using NIV is that I need to be really aware and responsive to what my body needs. This actually makes it a lot less scary. It's quite empowering. I've learned the signs that I need to change something. I've learned the signs that I might be getting unwell. And I know who to call, what to do, what to ask for, where the supplies are, and how to deal with that situation.
It certainly reduces my anxiety, I think, knowing what my normal is. So I know that I do have a fairly fast heart rate, knowing when to worry and when not to. Like you said, knowing those signs that might not be working well respiratory wise, what to look for. Checking holes in the tubes. Is the mask past its best before date? Or even the headgear might be a bit loose. Just to rule out things first and then know when to ask for help.
Absolutely. It can be the tiniest little things as well. So I try and make sure that I get that across to the professionals that I'm talking to. So I don't worry about if they're going to think that I'm silly or asking too many questions, because at the end of the day, that's my health. I'd rather ask one more question.
We don't always know the technical explanations for things, but if we can put it in our language and then work together to find a solution for what's going
Yeah,
on.
we know our bodies, they know their equipment, and between us, we can learn from each other. They can learn about our physical experiences, and we can learn about their equipment.
I try and have a good regime with my ventilators, one for the daytime, and one that's ready for use at night because it's more powerful. How about you, Fleur?
Cleaning them, we have a particular time of day that we do it so that they're dry, ready when I need them. We've got particular ways of doing things so that water doesn't go absolutely everywhere, because it can make quite a mess until you've found the technique. But with a long tube, one end up towards the tap, the other end down towards the plug hole is the way to not spray your whole kitchen.
Look out for signs of wear on the tubes. Just know when it doesn't feel right. It comes with the experience of using them. You know if it sounds funny, or if there's air escaping, or if the pressure feels off. So there's things that I would do to check in the first instance to eliminate any faults. Checking when the service is due.
I put reminders in my phone or on my calendar so that I can send them away. Mine gets sent off by courier, and a new unit is brought out on the same courier visit. So that's really convenient.
Always keep spares of everything. Sometimes if it's a really crucial item, then I'll have a spare of a spare.
I absolutely agree that you can never have too many spares. I always carry a spare must with me if I'm out and about. And if I take it off to eat or drink something and it falls on the floor, I've got a clean one right there in my bag, ready to go.
Gotta make sure that the filters are changed when they should be.
With changing the filters, I usually write in marker pen the date that I've changed the filter. So this means that I don't have to worry if I'm going to forget or say I'm ill and someone else needs to know and be able to do that for me. It's right there. I also write on the tubes the date that they were changed as well for the same reason.
It pays to be organised, writing everything down as well. So having an inventory list so that everyone knows where everything is. If I'm having a really difficult day or I can't communicate for whatever reason, then there's a folder with everything in.
I have boxes that stored under the bed and they're labelled with what they've got in them, and everyone knows that the equipment for the NIV is in the NIV box, the equipment for the cough assist is in the cough assist box, and that works pretty well. The one piece of information I've got printed out always in my bag is my emergency information, because this is really important. There are too many medical professionals that don't know about NIV and about the dangers of oxygen. What I've got in my emergency information is what my medical team have advised, which is if I need oxygen in the event of, say, a chest infection or COVID, then it absolutely must go through my BiPAP machine. It can't be a mask placed over my face connected to an oxygen canister. It has to go through the NIV circuit. And as well as that, my CO2 must be monitored. So this will mean that I won't be given too much oxygen, which would encourage my body to breathe less and mean that I'm not breathing out enough CO2. Because as well as getting in enough oxygen, your body has to get out enough CO2. So that needs to be measured and it must go through the circuit. My information has this on page 1 with a big red exclamation mark next to it.
Monitoring oxygen set is not enough in our case, because that could give you perhaps a false sense of safety. And in an emergency situation where medical professionals might not have that detailed knowledge of muscular dystrophy or muscle weakening conditions, I think they need to be aware that the arterial blood gas is just as important, or if not more so, than oxygen sets.
There needs to be some form of capnography, some form of measuring CO2 anytime that oxygen is given to us. The other written plan that I have in place is what to do in the event of a chest infection, what the early signs are, who I need to call, what medication I might need. So for me, it's if my oxygen saturation is too low, my temperature is high, and my heart rate is higher than it usually is. I've got a little pulse oximeter at home, a little SATS monitor. It goes over my thumb and it will tell me how much oxygen is in my blood, how fast my heart is beating. And straight away, I can call my GP and say, hi, this is happening. They'll either phone me back or get me in for an appointment that morning straight away, because they know that I need that quickly. And they will check over all those readings. They will ask me about what I'm feeling. And usually, if it is an infection, they'll give me some antibiotics. Getting those really quickly means that I can usually deal with it at home and not need to go to hospital. So this is my SATS monitor. This is a very useful gadget. They are cheaply available online and some clinics will give them out if asked. It's a small device that sits on my thumb, or it can go on a finger or a toe. And within a couple of seconds, it can tell me exactly what's going on with my oxygen, with my heart rate. The oxygen's too low and the heart rate's too high. This means that my body is working a lot harder than it usually does. And if I have other signs of a chest infection, it's time to call a GP straight away. If my oxygen's very, very low, then I may need to go to hospital for more treatment. But it's a completely painless little gadget, and it's been absolutely fantastic.
So what's your favourite piece of equipment, Fleur?
I absolutely adore my cough assist. It's been one of the greatest things to improve my health over the past few years, and it's just wonderful. A cough assist makes sure that I get a big breath in and then a fast breath out, and it clears my lungs of any phlegm that might be sort of hiding in there, waiting to cause an infection. Absolutely fantastic. Is that your experience as well?
Absolutely, yes. I started having aspiration episodes and was choking quite a bit, and it was really scary. And that was when I got the cough assist. I was seen the next week. I was set up with a machine, and it took that worry away that I wasn't going to be strong enough if that happened.
I use mine every single day. I absolutely love it. Every morning, every evening, 3 coughs just to keep my lungs clear, keep them open and stretchy and exercise, like you said. If you can't cough a big strong cough to clear your chest, definitely ask your team about a cough assist. So this is my cough assist. And here is its tube and mask. It's very friendly. The mask is kind of cushioned. It doesn't hurt my face at all. And it's actually got rubber so that it makes good air seals so that when I do these big breaths in and big breaths out, I'm getting all of the power that the machine is trying to give me.
The seal around your face is crucial, and my PAs have to hold it in just the right place on my face and put their other hand behind my head because I would immediately, my head would fall back. So yeah, there's quite a knack to it, but when it works, it's amazing.
It looks a little bit bigger because I've got it closer to the camera, but it's actually quite reasonable to store. I just have it next to my back door in my kitchen, use it every morning, look out the window, and then grab a cup of tea. The masks that are available now seem to be a lot better than the masks that were available 10, 20 years ago. I remember one night air blowing into my eye and I could not get the thing to sit right, and it's 10 to midnight and had enough, and I'm just like, right, I'm just going to sleep with a sock over my eyes because that will stop the air blowing into my eye, and the mask is on enough that I know that I'm getting enough breathing support, and for now that will do.
I think that's one thing you learned to be is very inventive, especially to do with getting the mask right. I just had a basic nasal mask. I think it was the only type that was available. It used to be either too tight that it would mark my face. I still have a little crater on my nose. You may be able to see it. Or not tight enough so that the air would be blowing out at all angles. So one night, my mum went to get an egg box from the kitchen, as you do, and she cut it into different shapes. So we experimented with putting it over my nose to stop it digging in. Then we padded it with little cotton wool balls, so created the perfect seal. But then through the night, all those little bits of cotton wool would at high pressure just shoot out like bullets all over the place. But now there are so many interfaces that work better. There's nasal pillows like I'm wearing now, and they made a big difference to me. This takes all that pressure off my nose. People can see my face more, and I can read better because I haven't got a big piece of plastic just in front of my eye. So that's made a big difference. Materials are better. There's a full face mask. There's the more than one type of headgear. Some even have tubes that come out at the top of your head. I've noticed. I haven't tried those yet. But there's so much more choice. And hopefully something that would suit all shapes of faces. Nose breathers versus mouth breathers. There's such a lot available.
And it might take a few goes to find the right one that matches your face shape, your nose shape, and this might change over time. And I'm actually really excited to see what's going to happen in the next 20 years in terms of what technology is available, what masks are available, and what new knowledge we're going to get. Sarah, what do you take with you when you go out and about?
No, I'm a 24-hour NIV user. I take my BiPAP and an external battery, so that sits on the back of my wheelchair. There's a handy little shelf at the back, and we've got the connecting wires, which I have spares and spares of spares. I take things like insulation sticky tape. That's quite useful if anything develops a hole or the wire's not staying in properly, things like that. It's just quick fixes if you're out and about.
I absolutely love the sticky tape idea. I'm going to do that. I use it all the time at home, but I'm going to go and put some in my car after this. So I spend some time during the day using my NIV and sometime not, depending on how tired I am, how much talking I need to do, or just how I'm feeling that day. Particularly if I'm doing something very physically demanding as well, I will use it more. Just responding to what my body needs. I always need to have it with me. It's always on the back of my chair. There's always a spare mask. And if I'm going further away, I will actually take the other unit with me as well in case of an error.
I would take my nighttime ventilator if I was going on a 2-hour car journey, so that if I get there and there's a fault with the machine, at least I've got backup that I can use. And it's just to get that peace of mind that you can enjoy yourself when you're out without having to worry that something major is going to go wrong.
I've also got an adapter for my car that plugs in to the cigarette lighter so that I can plug in either the NIV or my wheelchair charger or whatever I need to plug in. The only other thing I tend to carry is my emergency information and then just the day-to-day things that I would usually need. So straws and food and water, medications, anything that I need. The NIV, apart from the unit itself, doesn't take up a lot of space in my bag at all.
When I'm travelling and staying away from home, then I need to take a whole lot of equipment with me. I take my 2 ventilators, I take spare tubing, spare masks, the cough assist, all of the batteries. I've taken some of my antibiotics with me in case anything should occur while I'm not in my usual setting. If I say was going for a few weeks, I've got 4 external batteries that hold up to over 10 hours each. You need to have as many of those as possible and an extension lead or a 4-way socket.
The extension lead is just so valuable. Even in UK hotels, I find that the plug socket is not near the bed. So to avoid a trailing wire, we'll run the extension lead in such a way that it goes perhaps around the corner of the room over to where I am, and we can plug in the NIV to charge or to use overnight.
There was a good sense when I went on a cruise so that we could power everything when we needed to. It takes the stress out of travelling to have all of that with you. It means that you have quite a lot of luggage, but it's well worth it. It made it a really good holiday for me because I had everything I needed in my room. We could leave the ship, but then everything would be back there. I've made all the arrangements beforehand. The staff were aware, so they knew that I was a BiPAP user. So if there were any problems, I would be prioritised with electrical supply. I first became aware of Pathfinders because a user-led charity supporting people with muscle weakening conditions. So I was really impressed with the guide that they produced on ventilation And it was people with lived experience writing for people who were beginning their journey with NIV or having problems. And I just found it really useful. And I believed in what they were doing. When the charity expanded, I applied to become a trustee. I'm now co-chair of the trustees, so I've been quite involved for a couple of years now. The amount of peer-to-peer support that we have Facebook groups, sort of social media. And now COVID restrictions are well behind us. Hopefully some more in-person activities as well.
I'm a member of Pathfinders. I volunteer on different projects, going where needed. It's actually really exciting and refreshing to see that rather than getting knowledge in a top-down process in an academic form. It's much more accessible when people are saying, okay, I've used this, I've experienced this. Don't worry about that. You're getting the right information from your team, but you need to know that this is going to be okay. And it is.